Hey, it's Tom
and Mike
from Take Time to Travel.
Lisbon is a spectacular city with so many vibrant and diverse neighborhoods, like Baixa and Chiado. Baixa is Lisbon's historic heart and bustling center. Its beautiful promenades are lined with many eateries, shops, and attractive squares. And right beside Baixa, you'll find the upscale Chiado neighborhood, known for its many theaters, museums, and gorgeous buildings, as well as the picturesque Carmo Convent, and much more. Today, we're going to take you on a tour of Baixa and Chiado and show you what there is to do and give you some ideas on where to eat.
We'll start in the massive Praça de Comércio Square. It's one of the largest in Portugal, surrounded by colorful buildings and featuring an impressive triumphal arch at one end, which was built to commemorate the city's reconstruction after the devastating 1755 earthquake and took over 100 years to complete. It's called the Rua Augusta Arch, and just below the arch on either side, we found vendors set up selling all kinds of touristy knickknacks. Along the sides of the square, there's also lots of inviting restaurants and patios like this one here, called Nosolo Italia, where we met our friend for our late lunch on their expansive terrace.
From our table, we had a nice view looking out onto the square. And to start our meal, we each had a Superbock beer to drink. Then to eat, our friend ordered the capricciosa pizza with tomato, mozzarella, ham, artichokes, mushrooms, and egg. And Tom and I shared the Avero pizza with tomato, spinach, goat cheese, walnuts, and honey. We quite enjoyed our meal, but let's head over to the other side of the arch and explore some more of the charming Baixa neighborhood.
Continuing on the lively Rua Augusta, which extends out from the archway, there's a lovely walking street where the many restaurants have their patios running down the center of the promenade, which extends for quite a distance. In addition to all the restaurants and patios, there's also lots of shops, making Rua Augusta a must-see destination on your trip to Lisbon.
It really is a pretty spot to stroll along, with all of the calçada's wonderful patterns, even if you don't plan on shopping or eating here. However, if you're looking for a sweet treat, we'd highly recommend Mantegaria. We had some of their famous pastéis de nata Portuguese custard tarts at two of their other locations, and they were exceptional.
Further along, just at the end of the Rua Augusta walking street, there's a couple more large open squares. This one is called Praça da Figueira, where you'll often find different open-air markets, as well as the statue of King John I. But let's keep moving and head across the road to check out some more of Baixa's charming walking streets, like this pretty little one called Rua dos Carreiros.
But if you head back down the main promenade, Rua Augusta, you'll find many quaint side streets lined with even more shops and patios. It's a nice treat to just wander around here and take in the scenery.
The side streets in Baixa sure are photogenic, and I love how many different types of foods there are. There's something to eat here for everyone. Now let's continue exploring some more of Baixa.
The other square at the end of Rua Augusta is called Praça Dom Pedro IV, also known as Rossio Square. It's a charming square with fountains at each end. That makes a great spot for selfies. There's also beautiful patterned calçada stonework, leading to the theater called Teatro Nacional Dona Maria II, which was actually a former palace.
Just a short walk past the square, there's the ornate Rossio train station, which we used a couple of times during our 3-month stay in Lisbon to take a day trip over to Sintra. You can find a link for our video in the description section down below.
Now let's head across the street to get something to eat at Rossio Gastrobar. It's located on the rooftop of a luxury hotel called the Altus Avenida Hotel. Let's make our way inside and show you what it's like. Located on the 7th floor, Rossio Gastrobar has a stylish wraparound terrace with fantastic city views. It really is an absolutely stunning setting. From up here, we enjoyed a unique panoramic perspective overlooking Rossio Square, the St. George Castle, and the picturesque rooftops of Lisbon.
After sitting down and looking at the menu, we ordered a couple of Estrella Damm beers and were given a complimentary snack bowl. Shortly thereafter, the sun started to set, creating a lovely ambiance that we very much enjoyed. For an appetizer, we shared the mini corn tartlets with avocado and tomato. They were cute and tasted great.
Then, as a main course, I had the codfish with potato, egg yolk, and onion, which the waitress mixed up for me right at our table. And Tom ordered the grilled eggplant bowl with miso and fried brioche bread. My codfish dinner was tasty, and Tom and I both agreed that it was our favorite dish of the night. Overall, we had a delightful meal here. The food was good, but the main reason we'd recommend it is for the spectacular view. And when we came back outside, the train station was lit up beautifully.
Another place we really enjoyed for dinner was Baixa Chiado. It's located inside an 18th century palace, and on the main floor, there's this cool bar area. But for our meal, we're gonna walk up this grand staircase with our friends to the second floor, where we found this incredibly ornate ceiling in the restaurant's main dining room. And there was also a live DJ playing in here. Mike and I started by sharing the goat cheese crisps with port wine, mixed lettuce, and pear, which was delicious. Our friends ordered the sautéed shrimp with sweet chili, guacamole, mixed baby lettuce, and chard.
Then, for my main dish, I chose the wild mushroom risotto with black truffle and sautéed pleurotus mushrooms. Tom had the cauliflower tabbouleh with curry, chickpeas, almonds, sweet chili, and papadums. And for the grand finale, we shared the chocolate dome with hazelnut praline and salted caramel. For this dessert, Tom took the bottom of the spoon to whack the chocolate dome quite a few times, and finally revealed the delectable sweet filling inside. Our friends decided to get the apple pie with Worcestershire sauce, vanilla ice cream, and almond nougat. We loved our meal at Baixa Chiado. The setting was very luxurious, and the food was scrumptious. It's a great place for a special occasion.
Just a few minutes walk from the restaurant, we'll show you some more of the charming Chiado neighborhood, where we strolled along Rua Augusta and passed by all of its attractive patios filled with happy diners, over towards this quaint little square by the Baixa Chiado metro station, which is surrounded by these gorgeous Portuguese buildings. And you'll also see the famous 28 tram running just beside the beautiful square. But our favorite part of this spot was that quite often we would see interesting street performances like this drumming group here. One evening we even saw this fiery display where she blew out some impressive flames. If you've watched the video this far and enjoyed it, then please like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it.
But let's keep going. Past the statue and take a couple of minutes walk around the corner to get something cheap and tasty to eat at a popular Portuguese restaurant that Anthony Bourdain enjoyed. It's located in this attractive blue-tiled building and is called O Trevo. Let's head inside and check it out.
As soon as we walked in the front door, it was busy, with lots of people standing and eating at the counter. And after placing our order, we found a table on their patio which had a lovely view of the square across the street. Then it wasn't long until our food arrived. We got the soup of the day and the croquette, as well as this large breaded pork sandwich and the bifana with cheese. Everything only cost €8 in total.
The food at O Trevo was a really good value, and it tasted great too. We quite liked the view from the patio as well, with all of the streetcars going by. What a perfect little spot to grab a bite to eat. And right across the street from the eatery, you'll find the Praça Luís de Camões Square, which features a large statue of the 16th century poet. And at the far end of the square, there's a couple of beautiful old churches.
The Praça Luís de Camões Square sure is gorgeous, just like the many other squares in Lisbon. But now let's head back down Rua Augusta and have a quick look inside this basilica, called the Basilica of Our Lady of the Martyrs, which has a very colorful and impressive ornate ceiling. We're glad we stepped inside to have a look.
Now let's walk about 5 minutes over to another church which doesn't have a ceiling at all. It's called the Carmo Convent, and it was destroyed by the terrible earthquake of 1755, making for a very intriguing exterior of the building, since it literally doesn't have a roof anymore. It's now a popular tourist site and archaeological museum, tickets to which cost €5 each and can be bought at the entrance.
As soon as we stepped inside, we were immediately awed by the building's remains, even though there was restoration work at the far end. The Carmo Convent was very unique. It was like nothing we had ever seen before. Originally built between 1389 and 1423, the devastating earthquake of 1755 almost completely destroyed the structure. It's since been partially restored by the Association of Portuguese Archaeologists and is lined with an assortment of artifacts, which I found quite interesting to read up on.
We also found a resident cat lounging around, who was very friendly, and let me show her some affection. The Carmo Convent sure is an absolutely spectacular setting, and a great place to take a selfie, as well as some very dramatic photos.
Also included with the ticket price is entry into a small museum at the back, which actually has quite an impressive ceiling and features pieces from all periods of Portuguese history, including the tomb of King Ferdinand I, which is incredibly detailed and ornate. It was actually pretty interesting to wander around the different rooms and check out the many artifacts on display. We even saw a couple mummies and an Egyptian sarcophagus in this room with another high vaulted ceiling.
At the far end of the museum, there's also a small theater where you could watch a short film to learn about the history of the convent, which was projected onto the arches and pillars on the wall. But let's keep going. There's some more of Lisbon's popular attractions nearby.
Just outside of the Carmo Convent, if you walk along the side of the building and under this archway around the back of it, you'll find a great perspective of the size of the old stone building, as well as a spectacular view overlooking the rooftops of Baixa and even over to the São Jorge Castle in the distance, as well as the Santa Justa Lift. Let's head across the elevated walkway and have a look on the other side.
As we strolled along, we had a lovely view down towards the Tagus River, but right by the old elevator was where everyone was stopped to enjoy the beautiful view and take their pictures. We especially liked the view here looking down Rua de Santa Justa and over to the castle.
Now that we've checked out the top of the lift, let's go down to the street below, onto Rua de Santa Justa, where you can find a great angle of the Santa Justa Lift, which dates back to 1902 and is a Portuguese national monument. If you want to take a ride to the top of the lift, be prepared to wait in line and pay €5.30 each for a round-trip ticket. Although we didn't actually do that while we were in Lisbon. We did, however, stroll along Rua de Carmo, which runs underneath the lift's elevated walkway.
On Rua do Carmo, we passed by some interesting artwork, as well as this cool old truck, which is a kiosk that sells Portuguese fado music. The pedestrian walking street is also lined with many different shops and stores. One had this interesting mechanical display, and at the top of the hill, there's also a small shopping center.
Just a 5-minute walk from the mall, there's this attractive walking street which is painted blue. In the evening, it can get quite busy as the restaurant's patios start to fill up with hungry diners. We're going to have an early dinner at one of these places called Officio, which has a Michelin Bib Gourmand award.
The interior of the restaurant has lots of curves that extend all the way through to the back dining area, which was also very nicely decorated and is where our table was. What a stylish looking space.
We ordered 2 imperial beers to start our dinner, followed by a couple of oysters with lettuce vinaigrette that were very tasty. After that, we shared the delectable veal and bone marrow tartare, which came with a basket of bread. Then for our next dish, they brought us our garlic prawns, which had a lovely presentation. For our 4th plate, we chose the fire-cooked skate with herb sauce. The creamy skate meat was extremely tender and fell right off with just a spoon.
Next, we had a large portion of the old-fashioned oven rice with smokehouse meats like chicken, chorizo, and more. The oven rice, the skate, and the veal were our favorites. They were all scrumptious. After all that food, we took some time to enjoy the atmosphere. Before we ordered dessert, Tom chose the pineapple cake served with a sorbet, and I had their best-selling dessert, a cheese tart slice by Chef Hugo Candeias. The cheese tart was the best I've ever had. It was a fantastic way to finish an exceptional meal at Officio.
But let's keep going and show you another one of Chiado's delicious restaurants. It serves traditional Portuguese food and is called O Português Chiado. Inside is quite charming, with the beautifully lit brick ceiling and the live guitar player with a great voice.
We had a couple of small Sagres beers to start our meal, followed by the bacalhau à brás. It's a Portuguese dish made from shreds of salted cod, onions, and thinly chopped fried potatoes, all bound with eggs, as well as the cured salmon tartare with crostini, yogurt sauce, and avocado.
Both of our first dishes had a lovely presentation and tasted excellent too, although I did make a bit of a mess while eating the tartare. After that, Mike had the braised pork cheeks with sautéed shrimps and sweet potato, and I chose the house steak with a Portuguese white sauce served with homemade fries. Overall, we loved our dinner at O Português Chiado. All of the food was amazing, but the pork cheek was our favorite. We also found that the setting and the value were terrific.
But let's continue exploring and check out some of the gorgeous architecture, like this very ornate building here, and this impressive old bank building, with huge columns and rounded balconies. On our way over to another very tasty restaurant called Dear Breakfast Chiado.
It's a popular spot to eat that's known for its fantastic breakfasts. Our friend was able to grab us a table upstairs in their 2nd floor dining room, amongst all of the greenery and plants.
Then we each ordered a Sagres Bohemia beer to start our meal, as well as the avocado toast with poached egg, avocado smash, sweet onions, cucumber, and beet hummus, and the Eggs Benedict on brioche with poached eggs, bacon, hollandaise sauce, and potatoes. Our friend chose the Royal Eggs Benedict on brioche with poached eggs, salmon, hollandaise sauce, and potatoes. My avocado toast was really tasty, and both Eggs Benedicts were great too. In addition, I also ordered the sweet pancakes with caramel cream, slices of banana, and pecans. The super fluffy pancakes were a highlight for us, and it was lovely to meet up with our friend. Well, we hope you enjoyed our video exploring Lisbon's Baixa and Chiado neighborhoods. If you did, then make sure to check out our video on Lisbon's Alfama neighborhood, as well as the Belém neighborhood. And remember, take time to travel. Catch you on the next one.